Hi, 7th grade. This is Mr. Robinson. I hope that you're doing well. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the four main reasons for the fall of the Roman Empire. And we'll also talk about how the Roman Empire really allowed Christianity to grow. And so the first thing we're going to talk about are those political reasons for the fall of Rome. We know that there was a problem with corruption and honesty within the officials. A lot of governmental officials were taking bribes and were not fearful of a strong emperor like they had been during the time of Augustus. Um, Besides being corrupt and dishonest, there were only a handful of people that were willing to even try to become emperor, because in a span of 50 years, there were 22 emperors, and all 22 had been murdered. And so, not a popular job. There were a lot of failed reforms. Diocletian and Constantine both tried reforms, and those reforms failed. I think ultimately part of that downfall is because you just have incompetent leadership. You just don't have what you need. It didn't help that Constantine is going to move his empire, its capital, to Byzantium and rename it Constantinople. So that's going to take away a lot of the focus away from Rome and allowing it to fall. Let's talk about the military reasons why Rome fell. If you think about the size of the Roman Empire, it is massive. And in order to protect the frontier, you need a huge number of soldiers. And what you have are barbarian groups that are pushing against these Germanic tribes, mainly the Huns, and to some degree the Mongols, are pushing these Germanic tribes into conflict with the Roman Empire. And the Romans decide, well, let's just take these Germanic tribes in, and then we'll let them become part of our army. Well, that's okay, well and good if you want soldiers. However, these soldiers were not loyal to Rome, had probably never been to Rome, and were only really loyal to their commanders. And so that was definitely short-sighted on the part of the Romans. Being too big to manage, you might imagine the Roman Empire at this time like an eggshell. On the outside, you have some protection, but on the inside, you could just scramble it all up. And what happens when you let all of those barbarians in, you have no way of stopping them once they're inside the country. And we're going to see that with the Battle of Adrianople, where the Romans suffer the largest defeat almost in their total history of existence at the hands of these barbarians who were motivated, who were tired of being mistreated, and they wanted to be treated like Romans. Some of these barbarians even took Roman names and adopted Roman customs, but yet they were never really treated the same. And we'll get to that when we talk about the social problems that Rome had that led to the fall. I think you see a huge gap between the wealthy and the poor and the slaves. There was too much reliance on slave labor. The wealthy were super wealthy and they weren't working. The poor really had it tough. The wealthy stopped paying taxes and stopped following the rules. You've got a huge amount of problems within the let me just say that there's a lot of unemployment, so people didn't have jobs. Couple that with, you've got plague, which all these diseases came in. We're talking about plague right now with our coronavirus. So you can imagine just how difficult it would be if a plague were to sweep through and everything closes down. So you have all of these social problems that are going to lead to economic problems in our fourth area. You have inflation. The money, the Roman money, was not worth as much because they put less precious metals, if any, in their coins. And that caused huge problems, along with the economic toll of having the barbarians destroying fields. That's going to cause lots of hunger. You don't have the goods to sell. There are shortages. People, instead of trying to trade money that was worthless, went to a barter system, a system where, hey, I've got this. What can I get for this? And so instead of using money, they were just bartering objects back and forth to try to find food. So you've really got four big problems. You've got political, militarily, social, and economic problems that are going to lead to the ultimate collapse of the Roman Empire in the West. And you have to understand, this was not something that happened in one day. This took several hundred years of civil war, of plague, of natural disasters, really poor leadership with of course Marcus Aurelius' son Commodus kind of sets the stage. You might say that even today we have our own Commodus in the White House. So that was pretty much the big topic that I wanted you to understand. The next is going to be how the Roman Empire really allows Christianity to spread. And there are a couple of things that, why did Judaism not spread like Christianity? And there's definitely some reasons for that. One is the message. It's a message of hope. It's a message of promise in a life after death. And for people that were struggling to make ends meet. Women who were repressed, slaves, they are the early adopters of Christianity. And slowly but surely over time, and again, not over 10 or 12 years, but really like hundreds of years, Christianity is going to be adopted as the main religion of Rome. It's going to be Constantine that accepts Christianity, but it'll be Theodosius that makes it the religion of the empire. And so that came in direct conflict with traditional Rome, their Roman ideas about their pantheon of gods and so forth. But the message of hope was really, really positive, and ultimately it's going to be one that's successful. Another is that they had a postal system that was so efficient. If you think about the size of the Roman Empire, you really could get a letter across the Roman Empire in 3-4 weeks, which is impressive. And so you had people like Paul, who didn't know Jesus personally, but were inspired by his message, using the postal system and writing to different communities and talking about, his ideas and his beliefs, the way Christians should live their lives. And his influence cannot be understated. Paul wrote, I can't remember the exact number, but several letters to cities, to the Romans, to the Corinthians, to the Ephesians, to the Thessalonians, and so on. Also, they had a common language. Being as large as Rome was, this common language of business was Latin, and that was also very unifying. So people were able to communicate with each other, especially when you start writing this story of Jesus down. They're using this common language of Latin. Paul himself was a Greek speaker, so he was able to kind of send this message along to the Greeks. You have, as I mentioned, traders. No, I didn't mention that, but I will now. It was safe to trade throughout the empire. You could walk from one end of the empire to the other in perfect safety. That allows ideas to spread. But traders would hear, hey, did you hear about this guy, Jesus? The Romans, they killed him, but here he had some interesting ideas. And so they would share that as well. So you've got quite a few things that are going to allow Christianity to spread. But I think you've got to look at the message. You've got to look at the infrastructure of Rome, the common language, the safety of travel and trade that are really going to help promote this religion from some backwater religion to, as Theodosius will make it in 395, the religion of the empire. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you again when we get to our next unit on the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantium, and our connection from Byzantium to Islam. Take care, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.